So if we're asked to factor something like this, well, back when you first started factoring trinomials, probably looked something a little less intimidating like this. This is probably as least intimidating as they come, but you could jump right to making two parentheses. You knew they both had to start with an x, that way when you multiply the two parentheses together, you get x squared. And then you just had to find two numbers that add up, multiply to be 1 and add up to be 2. In this case, it's 1 and 1. And then boom, you're done. Your parentheses would multiply and turn back into this when you combine like terms. Too complicated to do it with this one, though. You have to guess and check a whole bunch of different options because you need your first two numbers to multiply to be 14c squared here. So do you use 2c and 7c, or do you use, what other options? You could do 1c and 14c, and then that messes up all the other numbers when you multiply here because you're going to be multiplying this either by 1 or by 2 or by 7, or 14. It's just too many different combinations. So here's the straightforward method. A wise old teacher once said, well, I shouldn't call him old, but you can use something called the magic number method. The magic number is found by multiplying the first and last numbers. Magic number for this one is -84. Okay, as we go, I'll make a little chart here so you can see the steps of the magic number method. But the first step is to multiply the first and the last number to get your magic number. Okay, second step of the magic number method. It's terrible handwriting, but find the magic pair. And the magic pair is two numbers that multiply to be that magic number, but they also do something else special. They add up to be that middle number, that -17. So we got to go through all the numbers that multiply to be 84. What is that? 2 times 42, that makes 84. Maybe this one's negative. Go through all those different combinations and try to find two numbers that multiply to be -84, and add up to be -17. -2 and 42 certainly isn't it, because yeah, that does multiply to be the magic number, but it's not our magic pair because -2 plus 42 makes +40, not -17, so we got to keep looking. How about -3 and 27? Those multiply to be -84. 28. Those multiply to be -84, but they add up to be 25. So it's still not our magic pair. Keep looking. How about -4 and 21? Those multiply to be -84, but they don't add up to be -17. -4 plus 21 makes +17. Whoa, so we're close. We got a +17 instead of a negative. What might we do? Why don't we just make that one be the negative and that one be the positive? Because now we have +4 plus -21, that makes -17. This is it. This is step 2. We found our magic pair. Okay, so step 3 in the method is, third step is replace the middle term with the magic pair. So that's our middle term. It's right in the middle. We're going to replace that with the magic pair. And here's how it's done. We said our magic pair was 4 and -21. So instead of writing -17CD, I'm going to put +4CD and then subtract 21CD. There's the +4 and the -21. Because if we combine those, it turns right back into what our middle term originally was. So we've done step 3. We replaced the middle term with the magic pair. And then just writing everything else. This is now our whole expression now with the middle term replaced with the magic pair. One last step. The last step is to factor everything, but factor by grouping. So factor by grouping is where you just put two parentheses. Oops. 1 second. I just noticed the negative sign. I don't know why I copied that down. There's no negative sign up here, right? So that should be a positive. But factoring by grouping is where you group the first two terms and the last two terms, and then you see if you can factor out what's in common. Looking in this first set, 14, again, that's positive. Positive 14c squared plus 4cd, they all have a 2 and a c that could be divided evenly out of them. So I'm going to write a 2c on the outside and write what's left over after I divide those on the inside. 14 divided by 2 makes 7. C squared divided by c gives us 1c right there. And likewise over here, 4 divided by 2 makes 2, and c divided by c is gone, so we're left with that d. So I factored what I could out of the first one. And the second one, we don't like negative numbers starting off anything that we do. We don't want to start on a sour note, so we don't want to start negative. Let's go through, both these are divisible by negative 3, and they both have d's in them. So let's divide everything by negative 3d. Divide that by negative 3d. So we're pulling out that negative 3d, what's left over on the inside, run that room. Sorry, I had to shift over. But once you pull out the negative 3, you have a 7c left over here, and then that's a negative 6d squared divided by negative 3d. That's a positive 2d left over here. So this is factored by grouping. So when you put two parentheses around the first two and the last two terms, and then you factor out what's in common, you should see two parentheses that are the same. Here they are, this one and this one. Those parentheses are the same. So what we do is, let me get a different color here. We take that duplicate parentheses, we factor it out, we write it once to the side, and then we make a new parentheses with the stuff that's left over on the inside here. Let's try that color. Sorry, the stuff that's left over on the outside. We have 2c subtract 3d. Okay, now we've completed the factoring by grouping. And if you multiply all this stuff together, it turns out to be what we started with. Let me just double check that. 7c plus 2d, 2c. Yeah. Okay, so you multiply this out, and that's what we started with. So we successfully factored. Just to recap, when you have something like this in green, where you can't jump to making two parentheses, you can use this magic number method. First, multiply the first and the last numbers. Second, find the magic pair, which is the numbers that multiply to be the magic number, but add up to be that middle term. 3, replace the middle term, this right here, with the magic pair that you found. And then 4, factor what you have after you replace it with the middle term. Factor everything by grouping.